Dixon. Yeah. Again. It's the same day we switched spots. Nothing has changed. Everything is a lie.
Nothing matters.
This is episode number 2 by Out of Frame, #oof. And it was smooth.
Very synchronized.
And we're going to be talking in this episode about the first single off our new record, In Error, that we already released by the time this is out. That's called Residue. Musically speaking, Residue was based on Dixon and his incredibly eclectic taste in music that varies from anything in the heaviest of the heavy to the poppiest of the poppy, such as
Anywhere from Dillinger Escape Plan to Michael Jackson.
Kelly Clarkson, Cattle Decapitation,
Halsey,
Jason Mraz. It's just kind of like from one end of the spectrum to the other. What we wanted to do was try and make a song that was as heavy as it was dancey. When I was talking to Dixon about what we wanted to do for Residue, he said, I want like a nice stank-ass 3-note riff, which ended up to being more along the lines of like a 5-note riff with a run at the end of it, that opening, like the ba-da-ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da. And so we wanted like this kind of big 3-note grounded, stank-ass riff that was completely juxtaposed with the poppiest chorus we've ever done. But while they were still so different, like the main riff has, your standard 2 guitars and bass in unison with just like the snare on, I think it's on 2 and 4 and stuff like that. It's basically a funk tune, and by the time the chorus hits, which was such a crazy transition. But my favorite part of those 2 sections that are so different is that they're kind of based off the same rhythmic material. The rhythm of that main riff, the ba-da-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da, is the same as the lead guitar part in the chorus going ba-da-ba-ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. It was just kind of neat to kind of write such different genres of music using the same rhythmic material.
From a musical perspective of the drums, it was really an interesting battle to play as hard as I could for those heavy sections, but maintain the intensity for dance sections. Because dance sections don't require such a brutal dynamic to be played at. But, trying to play everything as loud as you can for it to sound really good in the studio or for it to be mixed well in a live setting, it was really important to make sure that the heavy sections were played as, viciously as they needed to be. But making sure that the dance sections were not beaten all the way to hell. It was really important to be authentic to both, or as many styles of music as we used in that song. We need to be authentic to playing heavy and breaking China cymbals, and it was really important to have a lot of nuance in the hi-hats and different auxiliary cymbals for what we call the dance and funk sections of the song. In theory, it's really an easy thing to do. Okay, we're going to write a heavy riff and it's going to eventually make its way into a dancing chorus. Well, playing-wise, that's a different story, but in the end, it ended up working out. Definitely from a performance perspective, for me, it feels really natural to go from one end of the spectrum to the other without sacrificing intensity or volume or any trickery that my hands will allow.
Lyrically speaking, Residue, in terms of how it works with the lyrical concept of In Error, it's one that directly looked at family values and family traditions. Older generations of people who are enforcing their kids to only be able to live a specific lifestyle, or who make their kids afraid to come out as any sort of alternative lifestyle or sexuality, as if the thing exists, making people uncomfortable because of something that is completely out of your control. It always struck me as very odd. And when it comes to the idea of perfection, trying to enforce that there's a right way to do things when it comes to loving your family or trying to live a good life or raise a proper family, it just seemed absolutely insane that, you're trying to take advice from 2 or 3 generations old that's so antiquated, and that it's either racist or misogynist or homophobic or anything like that. It has all these lines about it's the particularly nasty stain you can't wash out, just kind of trying to paint it as this sticky, gross residue that you can't seem to wash off your name because it's associated with you genetically. Family and ethics are very often separate things, and I'm sure there's tons of people that disagree with that, and I'm not by any means saying that anything your parents tell you is bullshit. In fact, I'm sure they love you very much But you know, just in terms of older generations, like I thought it would at least, I guess in the best circumstance, it would make someone comfortable to talk about their own lifestyle without having the fear of like tarnishing a family name. Yeah, that's about it. That's Residue. That's episode 2 of #Oof. And next time we're going to be talking about monophobic, which has to deal with human communication and punk ass riffs with clean guitar pedals. So thanks for watching.